Welcome back to day 2 of your Starhawk assembly build. On day 1, we oriented ourselves to the instructions and we did step 1. Step 1 was tying a knot in the Kevlar cord. And let's pull that back over, and that's what we did right here. We tied that knot in the Kevlar cord, made that nice and strong. We put a little bit of glue on the end to keep that from fraying. And on the other end of this Kevlar cord, we tied 2 overhand knots onto the thrust ring, that blue thrust ring, and then we glued it inside the engine mount tube. We make sure, and I stress that had to have plenty of glue on it, so that doesn't come apart. Okay, so we set that aside. We didn't play with it, we didn't mess with it, and we let that dry overnight. Now we're ready for day 2. Okay, so day 2, I'm going to open up my instructions. Day 2, we already did that step, so I need to check that off. We did that one already yesterday. That was all part of day 1. So we are on step 4 today. Okay. Step 4 says use a ruler on the front of the instruction sheet and mark a pencil mark on the end of the yellow motor mount tube. That's this. So this is the motor mount tube. So again, we're looking at how this is set up, and here is where it talks about a pencil mark 1/4 from the end. Do you see how in the picture the cord is coming out? And right here is where that mark is. So that mark is somewhere in here, but I have to use that ruler in order to be able to find where 1/4 of an inch is. So I'm opening this up to the ruler, and I know from 0 to the 1, that's 1 inch. Half of it is 1/2 of an inch, and 1/4 is going to be this mark right there. So if I take my motor mount and I place it right up against the edge, do you see how I'm doing that? It starts right here at 0, and right here where I've got that mark, I'm just going to place a little pencil mark right there, just like that. That is 1/4 of an inch in. And that's really all I need to do, is I just need to know where 1/4 of an inch is. So I placed my pencil mark 1/4 of an inch in. Which is almost the same width as your pencil. If you're looking at your pencil, it's almost the same width as your pencil. So kind of double check that and make sure that you've got that right. Ask your teacher to come around and double check that and make sure that you've got that marked correctly. If you do have it correctly, then we're going to move on to the next step. The next step is to feed the shock cord back through the yellow motor mount tube. Notice how they've got it, and then it's going through the inside. It's a solid picture, and then it goes dot, 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 dot. That shows that it's on the inside. So what they're wanting us to do is they're wanting us to take the end of the white cord, and they're wanting us to feed it through the end, and then pull it through the other side, just like that. Okay, just like that. So that should be all there is for that. So we have done step 4 using the ruler. We've measured 1/4 of an inch in. Done. We have fed the shock cord through the yellow motor mount tube. Done. And we're going to now insert the clip into that slice, or that slit that was in that mark. That's this piece right there. Remember I pointed that slice out to you? We're going to take this clip, it's a metal clip, and we're going to insert it in that. What did I do with that? Oh, The bag. That's right, the bag. That's where everything goes. So I've got my fins, I've got the body tube. There's that metal clip. I see it. So it's inside the bag in the bag. Aha. Sealing that up, putting that back. And I'm putting that off to the side. Okay. Now coming back to the instructions say to insert the clip into the slit in the yellow motor mount tube. There's the slit. I'm going to take this piece, this part right here, and I'm going to insert it in that slice, in that tube. Oh, that was easy. It just went right in. Look at that. That's pretty cool. Okay, so if you didn't see that, look at the shape, look at the bend, and pull that back out, and it just popped right inside that tube, just like that. And now I am done with step 4. So in step 4, I measured 1/4 of an inch in, and I marked that. I fed the shock cord through to the other end, fed that through the inside, and then I inserted this clip. We are building the engine mount assembly. This is where the engine is going to go in and out at. And that's what's going to center the engine inside our rocket. Pretty important piece. All right, ready to go on to step 5? We're moving along. This is not hard, is it? It's easy. Step 5 says to apply white glue around the inside of one end of the white body tube. So we're going to apply glue around one side of the body tube. Going back to my stuff, I'm going to pull out my white body tube. And it says to apply glue on the inside edge of one side. Just one side. All right? So I am going to apply some glue just on the inside of that right there. On the inside. Take out my glue, open it up, and I'm going to apply some glue. I'm squeezing out some glue. Don't be afraid to use glue on this, but you can kind of see how much glue I have in there. I didn't go sparing. Okay. So what am I going to do with that now? I applied the glue on the inside of the body tube. Now I'm going to put the yellow motor mount tube, I'm going to insert it into the white body tube. And I'm going to push that into the body tube with one quick motion. Now before we do this, you can't just put this in and then let it sit. You've got to do it relatively swift. You've got plenty of time with this kind of glue, but we're going to push this all the way in until the white body tube lines up with that 1/4 inch mark. See how I'm doing that? I'm going to push this in side until it gets to that 1/4 inch mark, and then I'm going to stop. That's as far as I want to go. Okay, so I'm put some glue on the inside. I'm also going to put a little bit of glue on the outside of this, right there. And now I am ready to insert this in, making sure that everything is in The outside is nice and clear. I've got glue on the inside. I've got a little bit of glue on the outside. And I'm going to now push this in. It's a little bit tight, isn't it? And I'm wiping off the excess glue. And that is about it. That, I have to say, was a little bit tricky. If you don't feel you can do it, let your teacher know, and then she can come over and help you. And if you need to, I can always do it. The trick, though, is to do it in one swift motion so that it gets in there and it doesn't start to stick. Use plenty of glue on this because the glue will slide right in there. If you don't use a lot of glue, then it becomes harder to push in, so use a lot of glue. More glue reduces friction, it slides right in, and then you have more time. But if you don't use a lot of glue, it gets sticky real fast. Okay? So, we're all set. Now, I'm going to say that we can go on to step number 6. Step number 5, that was a little bit tricky there. We want to make sure that that's set up. Step number 6, we are going to feed the shock cord through the body tube, just like is shown. Okay, so we're going to feed the shock cord through the body tube. So we're going to take this shock cord and we're going to push it all the way through. And it should come out the other side. There it is. And we're going to pull it all the way through so it looks like that. Okay. Why do we have a shock cord? That's a good question. I didn't explain that to you. The shock cord is what attaches the body tube to the parachute and the nose cone. This is an elastic piece, so when the engine blows the nose cone and the parachute out, the parachute opens and it stretches and it springs back and it gives a little bit of a bounce so that the nose cone and the parachute stay attached to your body tube. That's what this is all about, and that's what this is for. Okay, step 6. We fed that through. We're going to apply a small bead of glue around the outside of the body tube this time. Now take a look at this picture. We are going to apply a small amount of glue around the outside. And again, I'm going to ask you to not skimp on the glue on this part. We want to make sure that we've got enough glue on this so that the fins stay on, because we're going to attach the fins to the body tube. So we're going to apply a small bead of white glue around the outside. It says small. Go ahead and put a good amount of glue around there. Don't gob the whole thing on, of course, but put a good amount of glue on there. Then we're going to slide the one-piece molded plastic fin unit onto the body tube with a twisting motion as you push it on. Slide the fin unit onto the body tube until it is flush with the end of the white body tube. Okay, so we're sliding this fin unit over the body tube until it's flush with the body tube. Let's go get that fin set, pull that out of our bag, and let's take a look at what we're talking about. We are going to apply glue, and then we're going to push this on with a twisting motion. I do not have glue on this yet, but we're going to apply the glue until it is flush with the white. So a little bit dry, but see how the orange and the white, it's kind of flush? That's what it's going to look like. But we're going to have this all full of glue. So I'm going to slide this off. I am now going to apply some glue to this edge of the body tube. Notice how the instructions say a small amount, but look at how much glue I have put on there. Okay? It will come off. It will come off. So now we're going to go ahead and apply this. We're going to push this in until the orange and the white are flush, and we're going to twist as we're applying it in. Okay, so here we go. Twisting as we apply. Notice that I've got a lot of glue. There's no sound. There's no friction on this because the glue helps with that. And I'm twisting it on. Twisting it, and right there. Notice how that is now flush with that. And I'm all set. I'm going to wipe up the extra glue. Make sure that there's no extra glue on there. And we just attached our fins. I'm going to clean up the rest of the mess that I have made. There's a little bit of glue that dropped on my instructions, so I'm cleaning that up. And I also want to make sure that there's no glue inside this hole. See that hole right there? I want to make sure that there's no glue inside that. So, and I noticed that there was some glue that got in there. So I'm going to take my pencil, and I'm just going to poke my pencil in there. And I'm going to make sure that that is cleaned out. And I'm looking through it like this, and I don't see any glue. Do you see any glue inside that hole? I don't either. But I want to make sure that I'm not seeing any glue in there because that cannot be plugged. That's your launch lug, and that's what the launch rod goes through. So that has to be free of glue in order for it to be able to come off the launch rod. All right, we applied the small bead of glue around the outside of the body tube. Check. We slid the one-piece orange molded onto the body tube. Check. And we slid that fin unit onto the body tube until it was flush with the end of the white body tube. Make sure that it's flush with the white body tube, not the yellow. The yellow is supposed to stick back about 1/4 of an inch, remember? All right. Check. That concludes day 2 of our build. We're going to set this aside and we're going to let this completely dry. We're not going to play with this. We're not going to mess with this. We're just going to set it aside and we're going to let that dry. Okay? Tomorrow, we'll put our recovery stuff together. We're almost done. Good job, little guys. I'll see you tomorrow.